talk about the swag and the ice and the whips they drive. But a nigga like me, getting bread, showing love, so the niggas don't respect my grind. It's going down, chasing the crown. Watch up, be one of the illest around, like Jessica, Rihanna, and Kanye. Nigga, I'm running the town. Slow it down, my vocals tight, so you can cut the. If you a dog, I'm Michael V. I take a nigga, girl, I don't play fair. I take him to the bedroom, and they stay there. Wanna be the climb, give me mine, running out of time, money on the line, gotta shine, give it a look out, when I try, won't stop. Vision in my mind, rockstar on top. Wait a minute, when a nigga really get it, I'ma go off. I gotta prove it to him. I think I'm MJ, I'm trying to eat, you trying to sleep. If you a dog, then I'm a beast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, misery bots of all ages. I'm back again. This time we talking about that PS5 Pro. This is what we talking about today as of right now. Later on, I already did that new sidebot video. Definitely check that out. I think that's pretty good. Later on, we're going to be playing some games, streaming some MK, some Street Fighter, maybe some Apex and Armored Core. We'll see how it goes. But first, we got to talk about what's going on with this PS5 Pro. I'm on IGN site. They got like the little teaser trailer or whatnot. We're going to listen to that and watch that right now. I already just watched it. But... All right, so you see what they're doing right now. You see what they hitting us with, right? Now, what they didn't tell you was they were hitting you with all that. I won't even say all that. They were hitting you with that, and they trying to charge $700 for that. Has Sony lost their effing mind? Have they lost it? Like, it's clear to us right now that we're now dealing with like the PlayStation 3 era of Sony. That Sony that was like, get a second job if you want to afford this joint right here, because like Sony is tripping right now. Sony is $700 for a PS5. That's more than what the PS3 was when that launched. I think the PS3 60 gig backwards compatible one was like $600 or something like that, which was ridiculously expensive at the time back then. Now, and granted, there was a cheaper version too, if I'm not mistaken. There was like a $500 20 gig version or something like that, if I recall correctly. But either way, like now we up here with $700. Granted, the regular PlayStation 5 is $400, if I'm not mistaken. 400, maybe 450. So does this really justify? Does this joint really justify the PlayStation, like what you're getting in the PS5 Pro? Does that really justify you paying an extra $250 more than like the base PS5? Like, I don't know. Like, cause I'm looking at some of the stuff they're showing us, and it's like some of this stuff should actually be on the PS5 base. You know what I mean? Like that PSSR joint is just the super sampling joint. Like, I don't see why that's not on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I mean the PS5, the base PS5. You would think that would be on the base PS5, because like it is, if I'm not mistaken, it's still running off of RDNA 2, and if I'm not mistaken, the PS5 is RDNA 2, and that's AMD. Like freaking, if you want to go to like this, the Steam Deck also runs off of RDNA 2, but that has AMD's super sampling joint. You know what I mean? I forget what they're calling it. It's like their version of DLSS. But what's the name of the joint for the RDNA ones? I forget what it's called. But their super sampling joint is already built into the RDNA 2. Sony, I don't see why like the PS5 don't already have that super sampling joint, like the base PS5. Like they're running on RDNA 2. Hell, stuff from like 2019 had the super sampling stuff. Stuff like the RX 580 has super sampling. You know what I mean? That's a really weak card. Like that joint was as powerful as a PS4. Sony's just coming out with their super sampling, and they're only putting it to their pro console. I don't see why something like that wouldn't be in their base console, which would definitely improve performance. Then they talk about like the ray tracing. Which, all right, if I'm not mistaken, PS5 does have ray tracing. It's just not as good. So I guess the more powerful console is just gonna have better ray tracing. After that, I mean, what else did they talk about? What else did they show off on this joint? I mean, it looks like a base PS5.
Problem we had is that we don't have the time or the expertise connected.
It looks like a base PS5. It has the super sampling thing is the thing that stood out to me the most, and it's like one of those like, why isn't that just on a base PS5? Like that should be something that should also be able to run on a base PS5. It's the super sampling joint, but they're trying to pass it as the next leap in console gaming. Which, granted, this is now the most powerful console in the market, period, granted, but you're talking about $700 for it, bro. Like that's ridiculous. You're talking about $200-300 more than the base console. It doesn't look like it has a disk drive either, so people who want this and they want to keep their disc or whatnot, you might have to buy that special attachment, which could run you even more money. So it's enhanced with, and this is where they talk about the PSRR, the PSSR, which is their super sampling joint. It's similar to DLSS or AMD's super sampling one, which I can't freaking think of the name of it right now. But I mean, AMD been had it, and I mean it's on their RDNA 2 cards. That's why it's like something like the Steam Deck, which is way weaker than a PS5. Can do super sampling on their games using the AMD's joint. Like from a hardware's perspective, the Steam Deck can do it. Like there is an option you can go, and from the actual hardware. So even if it's a game that doesn't have AMD super resolution joint that they got going on, you can do it straight from the actual Steam Deck itself. You feel me? So that's why I don't understand why like the base PS5 don't have something like that, especially when it's running off of RDNA. That seems like something they can patch in with an update. High frame rates. The PS5 should already be able to do 120 frames per second on certain games. Like I don't see why like something like Apex Legends doesn't run at 120 frames per second. Like I don't know if it does. I don't play Apex Legends on the PS5, but like something like Apex Legends should run at about 120 frames on a PS5. Stuff like Fortnite should be able to run 120 frames on a PS5. Stuff like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare should be able to run 120 frames on a PS5. Overwatch. There should be games that are already able to run 120 frames on the PS5. I don't see why not. The PS5 is as powerful as what, like a 6700 XT or a 3060 or 3060 Ti or a 4060. Like it's a pretty powerful console, you know what I mean? It's a pretty powerful console. So I don't see why it wouldn't be able to run certain games at 120 frames per second when the cards that it's equivalent to can run certain games at 120 frames per second. So they're doing high frame rates and touting this 120 frames per second. Like the base PS5 should already be able to do that with certain games. And just because they're saying 120 frames per second, like this is not going to be every game. There's going to be games that still run at 60 on that PS5 Pro. which for what people are saying, the PS5 Pro is probably going to be as strong as like a 3070 Ti or something like that, which is a really powerful card, or 4070 Ti, which is a really powerful card. But I don't know. I don't know, bro. Like, this seems off to me. Like, this isn't really a selling point, because this is something that the base PS5 should already be doing on certain games. And then they say advanced ray tracing. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the base PS5 already has ray tracing. I don't know. I don't know what they mean by advanced ray tracing. Maybe it's slightly better. And then that's it. That's it. And they're trying to charge $700 for that. Like, Sony it's clear to us that we now have the Sony from the PS3 era. The ones that would be like, yo, this is $600. If you can't afford it, go get a second job type Sony. Like, you know what I mean? And if you really, and when you combine that with the fact that, like, with their base consoles, you would think 4 years into a game, into a console's life cycle, that the prices would actually be going down. Like, they would reduce the prices of these consoles. But nah, the consoles prices have actually gone up. And I think Sony was like one of the first ones to raise the price on their consoles too. But I think like the actual base all digital one was like $450 now. And the one with the disc, I think, is like $550 now in certain countries. So it's weird why they would just, and as far as I'm aware, like the consoles that they have now hasn't really been fully tapped yet, because there's still studios from Sony's actual slate or catalog, like Naughty Dog, that hasn't really released a next gen or a PS5 game. They've made remakes of like The Last of Us Part 1. They've made remakes for that game and stuff like that. But is a remake of a game that came out on the PS3 really tapping into the power of the PS5? I mean, it's the same thing with Blue Point, I believe their name is. They made the Demon Souls remakes, which was a remake from a game from the PS3 as well. It's fitting that they're remaking all these games from the PS3, because they are now the PS3 Sony that we're dealing with right now, where their prices are ridiculous and they're hitting us with all these expensive peripherals. Like with the PS3, you had like the motion joint, you had like the 3D TVs, you've had like the expensive PlayStation and stuff like that. And now you look at PS5 and they hitting us with the VR 2. They're hitting us with the PSP joint, the one that's handheld, but it's only a streaming handheld basically. They're hitting us with like a new set of Bluetooth headphones and stuff like that, which they're hitting us with a lot of peripherals basically. The Elite controller, PlayStation 5 Dual Edge, I believe it's called. So they're definitely just selling us a bunch of expensive stuff, similar to what they were doing during the PS3 era. The problem with that is, during the PS3 era, you had Xbox, who was able to humble them. So on the PS4 era, we got good quality stuff at a good price. With the PS5 era, we don't have Xbox here to humble them. We got Nintendo here to humble them, but people don't look at Nintendo as a rival to PlayStation. So, I mean, maybe PC can humble them, but we'll see, man, because, like, PC is expensive as well. PC might actually be more expensive than PlayStation. So, it's crazy. Things is looking kind of rough for the console market, in my opinion. Granted, we're still going to get great games. The visuals in these games are still going to look good, but with Sony seeming to be, like, the only player in town, like, they control the market, and they can set the prices to whatever they want, and the consumers are just going to have to deal with it. Consumers that have loved gaming forever, their earbuds suck. No one likes them. Yeah, because they have like the Bluetooth earbuds, and they had like the Bluetooth Sony joints, like the gaming headsets too. They have do they have a TV? They have the Sony Bravia TVs, but they have the VR headset joints. They have the DualSense Edge joint, which is like $250 for a controller. They like Sony, and then now they have this PS5 Pro collapse, and this PS5 Pro is $700, $699. Let me see if they show a price for it, but it's crazy that they're if you're willing to fork out $700, Sony's trying to charge $700 for a PS4 Pro. Granted, their base PS4 is only $400, So like with what you're seeing in this video, do you think this is enough to justify an extra $250 to $300 on your PlayStation? Has Sony lost their mind for shit that should already be in the base PlayStation? Like their super sampling joint should already be in your base PlayStation. That shouldn't be an extra feature. Ray tracing's already in the PlayStation 5, if I'm not mistaken. They're saying that it's going on PS5 it's going to be better. Well, no shit, it's a more powerful console. If you look at graphics cards, the more powerful graphics cards can run the ray tracing better than the weaker graphic card. The 4090 can run ray tracing better than the 4060. They both can do ray tracing, but 4090 is a lot more powerful, so it does it better. And then they talk about high frame rates. So there should be games on the PS5 that's already running games at 120 frames per second. Like, I don't see like why Apex Legends, a Fortnite, and Overwatch doesn't run games at 120 frames per second. Like, I have my RX 6600 is as strong, if RX 6600 XT is as strong, maybe even a little bit weaker than a base PS5, and I can run those games at 120 frames per second. You can build a PS5 PC for the same price with better tech. LOL, they're mad videos on them. You are not getting it, are you? Well, I'm not. I was never gonna get the Pro. I was never gonna get the Pro. I wasn't gonna get the Pro. That's why when I text y'all, I was like, I might just pick up an actual regular PS5 because I'd assume that with the Pro coming out, the PS5s would be going on sale. But now with the price of this PS5, I don't think the base PS5s are gonna go on sale. I don't see the base PS5s going on sale. I don't see why they would. There's no reason to. The base PS5s right now, like, they're already $400. They have not had a price drop. They have not had a price drop. In fact, the base PS5 has gone up in price. So I was seeing this, okay. And with the PS4 generation, you had the PS4, and then when the PS4 Pro came out, the PS4 Pro launched at the same price as the PS4 had originally launched, which means that the base PS4 actually ended up dropping tremendously in price. It dropped down to about $250, $300 for the base PS4. And then the PS4 Pro was like around $400, $450, if I'm not mistaken. So if you had like a base PlayStation 4, you can actually trade in to get the PS4 Pro and get it for less than. So, but that's not the case. That is not the case right now with the PS5. Like $700, that's crazy. There's no reason for them to now lower the price of the base PS4, so they can keep selling the base PS4 for $400, $450. And we're talking about 4 years into the console life cycle. You know? And they talking about like high frame rates, and this is all you're getting is high frame rates and super sampling, which should be in the base PS5 in my opinion. And they're talking about advanced ray tracing. Well, the base PS5 already has ray tracing, so I guess it's going to be a little bit better on the PS5 Pro, which it should be because it's more powerful. Too bad I can't get a PS4 or PS5. You don't have a PS4, Newtown? I thought you would have at least had a PS4. That's another thing too. Most of the games that come out are still coming out on PlayStation 4. But yeah, why can't you get a PS4 or PS5, Newtown? I mean, at this point, you should be able to get a PS4 for super cheap. I wouldn't recommend a PS4 though. I would recommend maybe trying to get a PS5. 400 is not bad. 400 is not bad when it first launched. But 4 years after this console has launched, you would expect it to be cheaper. Like any electronic, 4 years after it has launched goes down in price. That's not what's happening with the PlayStation though. It's actually going up in price for some reason. So no money. That's fine. You still have an Xbox, so you should be good. But yeah, Collapse, like I probably would have played if there was some sort of incentive to buy a PlayStation 5 4 years ago, I would have spent the $400 on it. That's not bad. 4 years later, to spend $400 on technology that came out 4 years ago, technology that was probably thought of 5 years ago, like, nah, I'm not about to spend $400 on old tech like that. I'm not about to do that. There's graphics cards that came out 2 years ago that's cheaper than $400. If anything, I'll just get a new graphics card. I could get like a 6800 XT right now for like $400. and that's probably going to be as powerful, if not more powerful, than a PS4, PS5 Pro. PS5 400, not bad. And what's the lifespan? I don't know. People are saying that a PS6 might come out in 2027 or 2028. So maybe you'll be paying $400 for maybe another 4 years. And that's the thing. You spend $400 now, and then next year the shit drops in price, or might drop in price. You know what I mean? See, paying $400 4 years ago, yeah. Now the lifespan is 8 years. I spend $400 now. Now my lifespan is 4 years. Because they're talking about maybe a 2028 is when the PS5, PS6 drops. See Broken Games HD. By the way, check out Weapon Wheel podcast. That's actually a really good podcast. Broken Games HD, really entertaining podcast. Highly recommended. They talk about games. They be roasting each other, having a good time, man. And it's all black people, you know, doing their thing on the internet. And I mean, talking about games. So definitely check them out. I actually want to see what BG's opinion is on the PS5. He's someone that don't mind spending extra money, because he's an enthusiast and he kind of wants the best thing. So I'm kind of curious to see what his thoughts are on this. I'm staying with PC. Yeah, me too. Me too. Like I was only considering getting a PS5 because I assumed it was gonna drop in price. So if it would have dropped to, like, let's say $300 in price, and then I could just trade in my PS4 Pro and get the new PS5 for like maybe $200. Know what I mean? I would have spent $200 on a PS5. But now, like, there's no reason for me to trade in my PS4 Pro, because most of the games I get on the PS5, I can play on my PS4 Pro, or I can play on my PC. So there's no reason for me to get a PS5. I was just gonna get it just cause.
Broken Games HDR back at it again with another video. All right, so let's get to the facts, because I don't care about people's feelings. I don't care about people's emotions. I don't care about people's thoughts. I'm here for the facts and the numbers, okay? All right, so PlayStation released this video today, the PS5 Pro technical presentation hosted by Mark Cerny, where he, for a short time, 8 minutes, went into the PS5 Pro and the improvements they are making with it, and the price is $700. And I like what he was talking about and the information that
I can see a PS5 being $300 to $500. Well, the PS5 is basically $300 to $500. The PS5 right now is between $400 to, well, if you add the Pro, it's going to be between $400 to $700 now. But you might be able to pick some used ones up for about $300. But I don't really want to get a used one because you don't know what you're getting. You might get somebody's joint that is broken, or there's something wrong with it, or whatever, or it overheats really quickly. You know what I mean? And you just spent $300 on something that ain't really working real right. So if I'm gonna get a PlayStation 5, I'd rather it be a brand new one from a store where I could get some sort of warranty on it. Especially if I'm gonna be spending $300 or $400 on it. So I'd rather get it from like a Best Buy or something. But $300 is not bad. Like, that's definitely something I would rather spend for a brand new one, though, not a
he provided about the improvements for this console and the information that that came out afterwards. All right, so let's get to it. Let's break this down. All right, PlayStation 5 Pro coming out November 7th. Pre-orders start September 26th, I believe they said, for $700. Here are the details. Comes with a 2 terabyte SSD. No disk drive. I don't give a fuck about a disk drive. I don't buy physical games. Compatible with all PS5 accessories. That means the disk drive that you can buy for like $80. Built with the goal to now play games in their quality graphic modes at 60 FPS instead of needing performance mode. You could have stopped right there and I would have been like, that's fucking enough for me. That's it. Every time we've had a conversation about this thing, I'm like, bro, if this thing can just literally bring games such as Hogwarts Legacy or Final Fantasy 16,
it seems like BG seems to be with it. It seems like it's of value to him.
Or Final Fantasy Remake, or Wukong, or Space Marine. If it can bring these games that in their quality mode run at 1080p 60, and some of these that run at 1080p or 1440p. It's going to do that for game performance. What the fuck? Listen, day one.
Okay, so he seems like somebody that is willing to spend the $700 to get a PS5 Pro. Granted, if I'm not mistaken, he actually has a PS5, so he'll more than likely just trade in his current PS5 or sell his current PS5 and be able to get the new PS5 for a little cheaper. But I guess he sees value in it. I'm of the mindset that it should be already, most of the stuff they show should already be doing it. Granted, I understand the whole quality mode being able to run at 60 frames per second now, but because it is a more powerful consoles. I get that, but I don't know if it's worth $700 for that.
Crew Motorfest, The First Descendant, Last of Us Part 2, and more. So here's some other details. PSSR will work on PSVR 2 games in the future. They're planned 4 to 50 games with PS5 Pro upgrades at launch, focusing on 4K 60 upgrades along with graphic boost. PS5 Pro could spark a range of extra gaming modes. Cerny has seen games with 3.
Flash said if 1440p base should be base. He bugging. Well, they're talking about 4K. The PS5 is going to be 4K. Sounds like a fanboy. I don't know if BG's a PlayStation fanboy. He does like and favor PlayStation over Xbox, but I think he actually plays more on PC than anything. He plays more on PC than anything, but he's just, I don't know. He's somebody that just wants the best of the best. I don't think he has a 4090, but I think he has like a 4080 graphics card, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's just somebody that wants the best of the best.
3 different PS5 Pro modes. Over 25% of PS5 owners own a 120 FPS, hertz, cable TV. That's about around 1 in 10 players have a VRR cable TV. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, in particular, popped compared to the fuzzy graphics on the existing PS5 version. Everything was sharper and still 60 FPS. It felt like putting new glasses on. Gran Turismo 7 included what other people pay for certain things. Some people like luxury cars. There's some people that I've seen pay like $1,000 for a pair of headphones.
Yeah, that's
audiophiles.
Big tripping.
They pay $2,000. Go see what an audiophile spends their money on, and you would think they're crazy. People who collect things pay insane amount of money for these things, for what they want, crazy. Because value is subjective. So that's why I don't cry. I don't cry about price. I don't cry about what other people pay for things. Price and cost has always been a conversation that you can't find me crying about it. Something else that is purely optional and purely just hobby based.
He's with the PS5, bro. Now I need to check out one of his podcast mates. The dude's name is Jack Move Johnny. Jack Move Johnny is a PlayStation fanboy, but Jack Move Johnny is hilarious, bro. Hilarious. There we go. Are we live, bro? It's during 2 hours. We ain't finna watch this whole thing. I just want to catch some of his reactions on that. But definitely check out Jack Move Johnny. Definitely check out Broken Games. Definitely check out the Weapon Wheel podcast. Those guys over there, they're doing their thing, man. They're doing their thing and have been doing their thing for the longest.
Are we live, bruh? Are we live, bruh? Is this Jack Move live, bruh? I think I'm live right now. Let me see if I'm live right now. Real quick.
In Europe, that joint $800 in Europe. Woo!
Okay, I am live right now.
Autofiles are overrated. If it gives you 10 years, then it's cool. I wouldn't spend that much money on no headphones anyway. The most I'm willing to spend, maybe $150 on some headphones. Maybe $150. I ain't trying to spend much on headphones.
Clear, okay? If you can hear me loud and clear, man, let me know, all right? Let me know. Now, I was not going to do this live stream. I'm still not in the mood to do this live stream, right? But I've been getting tagged. I know a lot of times I'll be saying people been hitting me up to talk about this, talk about that. A lot of y'all say I be capping Jack Move, you making up shit. What was it? One person Jack Move, but I've gotten tagged. Actually, shout out to my guy Kim Pachi. He sent me a donation on Cash App to do the Are We Live, bro. I wasn't gonna talk about this. Actually, I think let's just run it down. All right. So if you don't know, today Sony had a presentation. Mark Cerny. It was like 9 minutes. They officially announced the PS5 Pro. I
guess so. Yeah. Collapse says PS5 gives you 10 years, not headphones, and additional 10 years, bro. Yeah. No, I agree with that. You know, when you have a gaming platform, I mean, as long as it works, you'll always have it. You'll always be able to use it. And you can always go back to it. Like, if you have, like, a Dreamcast right now, you can always go back to a Dreamcast and play games that are not available to us. You do have certain platforms, like the PS3, I think got supported for, like, 12 years before they stopped supporting it. 12, 15 years before they got supported. They're still supporting the PlayStation 4. That came out 11 years ago. The PlayStation 4 came out in 2013, if I recall correctly. So if you bought a PlayStation 4, you can actually still use and play your PlayStation 4 now and play new games. Case in point, if I'm not mistaken, Black Ops 6 that's coming out this year in October is going to be able to play on the PlayStation 4. You can play Black Ops 6 on a PS4. If you have a PS4 Pro, even better. It'll look better and maybe run a little bit better. But if you have the base PS4 that came out in 2013, you can buy and play a brand new game that's going to be launching later on this year, a brand new big blockbuster game that's going to sell tens of millions of units on a PS4 right now, 11 years after the joint has launched. And I mean, who's to say that and from what I can see now, they're going to continue supporting the PS4. Like, I'm not getting rid of my PS4 Pro. Like, I'm going to keep and hold on to my PS4 Pro because they're still supporting it. So yes, you are absolutely right with the console. And even with the PS5, it will last you 10 years, assuming it doesn't break or something like that.
front watching it with my sister, man, on the TV and whatnot. And this is my dead ass reaction. When they said the price, I started laughing. I bust out laughing. She was like, bro, what's wrong with you? Like, you okay? Like, I just started laughing, bro. It was funny, bro. Like, I don't have nothing to say about this. Let me start off by saying this too. I'm not here to tell nobody how to spend their money, what to buy. I don't give a fuck if you purchase this, if you don't purchase this, if you think it's worth the money, if you don't think it's worth the money. I do not care, okay? I don't care how you feel about this, right?
I'm with him. I don't care if you buy it or not. It's not something I'm going to buy. And I just don't see why it's so expensive. But whether you buy it or not, I don't care if you buy it or not. I don't think it's going to sell very well, especially at that price. It's more of the logic and strategy going behind it. Like, it reminds me, it's very reminiscent of what was happening during the PS3 era, where Sony was coming out with all these expensive peripherals and they were trying to get people to buy all this expensive stuff. Meanwhile, it was just their competition was just doing better on everything else. With my PC, I can just add a GPU and that will keep it up to date. I still have not run it in its 144 hertz on the monitor. I'll pass on that PS5. Yeah, I'm passing on the PS5. I'm passing on the PS5. I don't think, as long as it keeps supporting the PS4, I'll just, any game I want on the PlayStation, I'll just get on the PS4 Pro. And I do need to upgrade my PC. Like, in terms of the 6600 XT, I'm okay with that. It runs games just fine. I need to upgrade my CPU. I want to upgrade it to, like, maybe the 5800X 3DX. So, or 3D. But I do want to upgrade my CPU. I might upgrade my graphics card. I might. But honestly, a lot of the graphics cards out right now are not really interesting to me. I'm trying to see what this next generation of graphics cards coming out looking like.
Right? I'm just here to tell y'all what I think about it. And I might hop into this corner here what y'all think about it, right? Me personally, I don't have a reason to buy this, right? If you got a reason, that's cool. That's cool. What I saw. and we could probably watch the video. What I
So basically, he's opposite from like his podcast member BG and Jack Move and like two others do a podcast together, and it's cool seeing their different points of views clash and stuff like that. So you'll have BG who likes the PS5 Pro and thinks it's something that is of value, and then you'll have Jack Move Johnny, and they'll go back and forth. Sometimes they'll argue and roast each other and stuff like that. And then you have the other ones on the podcast, and they'll add their 2 cents and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the next Weapon Wheel podcast. Definitely check that out. Check out Weapon Wheel podcast. BG, Jack Move Johnny, Smooth, Kid Smooth, Black Bond, Alex, all of them. Definitely check those guys out, man. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. This joint carried on longer than I thought. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be playing. Stay tuned, though, because I am going to be playing some games. I'm probably going to start off with Mortal Kombat 1, only because I'm a little bit hyped for that new Cybot. He got me a little hyped to play Mortal Kombat 1, I mean, so I'm going to play some Mortal Kombat 1. Granted, I'll be playing Takeda. But I do play that Shujinko, and I see the Shujinko does got a buff coming soon, so curious about that. And then I'll probably transition to maybe some Street Fighter, and then maybe some Apex or Armor Core or something like that. So Collapse says that a 7800 and a 4070 Ti Super is pretty good. I'm staying with my 3080 Ti until next year. Dude, yeah, those are pretty good. I'm not going to upgrade to that, though. But you got a 3080 Ti. You're good for probably the next 7-8 years, dude. Like, you'll be able to run games at 1440p, 120 frames per second at least for, like, the next 7 years. For me, the only reason why the PS5 Pro would be worth it is if you don't have a PS5 yet. I don't have a PS5 yet, and I don't think the PS4 5 Pro is worth it, honestly speaking. Especially, again, I have a PS4 Pro, and a lot of the games I can still play on my PlayStation 4 Pro, like Black Ops 6. And I have a PC. So there are games that, if I can't play on my PS4 Pro, I can just play on my PC because it comes to PC, like Returnal. Returnal, the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Hell, I was able to play that on my Steam Deck. I also have a Steam Deck that I can play these games on. You know what I mean? In January, I'll sell all my GPUs for a 4090. Really? You're gonna upgrade to a 4090? Woof, that's a nice one. That's a nice chunk of money though. The 4090, those things run for like what, $1,700 or something? They're expensive. They're expensive. But I'm gonna end this stream. I'm gonna go ahead and play some fighting games. I'm gonna be playing fighting games, or just not fighting games, but video games for probably the next 6 hours, dude. We're gonna be grinding out. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And remember, your life is fantasy.
Motivated. Some people let me get them. I know they hate it cause we winning and motivated. Listening and inundated with swagger. I'm trying to keep with my daughter to hear some bullshit. Not from Chicago, so don't talk to me about bullshit. Niggas in the motherfucking game wanna talk about the swag and the ice and the whips they dry. But a nigga like me getting bread, showing love, so the niggas don't respect my grind. It's going down, chasing the crown. Watch up, be one of the illest around, like just Rihanna and Kanye. Nigga, I'm running the town. Slow it down, my rope was tight, so you can cut the. If you a dog, I'm Michael V. I take a nigga girl, I don't play fair. I take him to the bedroom, and they stay there. Wanna be mine, I'm gonna climb, give me mine. Running out of time, money on the line, gotta shine. Give it all I got when I try, won't stop. Vision in my mind, rockstar on top.